stared at the notification on his home security app. Motion detected in the guest house. Again, as the founder and CEO of Blackburn Security Systems, Reed had designed their sprawling Montana estate with cutting-edge surveillance technology integrated into every corner. Not because he was paranoid, but because security was his business and his passion. At 42, Reed had built his company from a small personal security firm into a national enterprise that provided protection for high-profile clients and government officials. His reputation was built on discretion, thoroughness, and an uncanny ability to anticipate threats. Those same instincts now told him something was wrong in his 15-year marriage to Aurora. The guest house had been converted into Aurora's art studio 3 years ago when she decided to pursue her long-dormant passion for painting. Reed had encouraged her, even though her sudden interest came after years of showing no artistic inclination. He'd attributed the change to a midlife awakening, perhaps empty nest syndrome, as their twins, Liam and Lily, now 17, were preparing for college. But the late-night visits to the studio had increased over the past 6 months. Aurora's exhibitions were infrequent, and Reed had noticed discrepancies in her schedule. When questioned, she became defensive, accusing him of surveillance and control. Reed finished his bourbon and set the glass down, his reflection distorted in the polished mahogany of his home office desk. He pulled up the security feed on his computer, stomach tightening as he recognized Brock Harlow's silver Mercedes pulling up the hidden service road that led to the back of the guest house. Brock Harlow, the twins' former art teacher, the man who had discovered Aurora's talent and encouraged her to pursue it professionally. The man who had been spending 3 nights a week in Reed's guest house for the last 4 months. Reed's jaw clenched as he watched Aurora emerge from the shadows to greet Harlow with a passionate kiss before they disappeared inside. He'd suspected the affair for weeks, but had held off confirming it, partly due to his demanding work schedule overseeing a major government contract, and partly because he didn't want to believe Aurora would betray him after everything they'd built together. He opened his desk drawer and activated the recording devices he'd installed in the guest house last month. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, hesitating. Once he listened, there would be no going back. Their marriage would be irreparably damaged. His phone buzzed with a text from Liam. "Dad, can we talk when you're free? It's important." Reed texted back, "Of course. I'm in my office." Minutes later, Liam appeared at the door, his lanky frame and serious expression making him look older than his 17 years. "What's going on?" Reed asked, minimizing the surveillance feed. Liam shifted uncomfortably. "It's about Mom and Mr. Harlow." Reed felt his chest tighten. "What about them?" "They're not just having an affair," Liam said quietly. "They're planning something. Against you." Reed's face remained impassive, though inside, cold rage began to build. "Explain." "I overheard them talking last week. Mom said something about custody and divorce, but not until everything was in place. Mr. Harlow mentioned something about your clients and information that would be worth millions to the right people." Liam's voice trembled. "I didn't want to believe it, but then Lily showed me messages on Mom's tablet. They're collecting information about your clients, Dad, government officials, witnesses, and protection." Reed leaned back, processing this betrayal that went far beyond infidelity. Aurora had access to some of his client files, not the classified ones, but enough peripheral information that could endanger people if it fell into the wrong hands. "Does Lily know you're telling me this?" Liam shook his head. "No. She's been working on her, telling her things about you, that you're controlling, dangerous, that your work puts us at risk. Lily believes her." Reed nodded slowly. "Thank you for coming to me." After Liam left, Reed turned back to his computer. He had decisions to make. His wife wasn't just betraying their marriage. She and her lover were attempting to steal classified information that could put lives at risk. And she was poisoning his daughter against him in preparation for a custody battle. Reed Blackburn had built his life around protecting people. He'd served in military intelligence before founding his security company. He understood threats and how to neutralize them. As he activated the recordings from the guest house, his eyes hardened. Aurora had just made herself the enemy, and Reed never showed mercy to those who threatened what he'd built. Chapter 2. The Gathering Storm. 2 months passed as Reed meticulously gathered evidence. He maintained a calm facade, giving Aurora no indication that he knew about her affair or her plans. At work, he implemented new security protocols, restricting Aurora's access to company information without arousing suspicion. Meanwhile, he deployed Maddox Warren, his most trusted security specialist and friend of 20 years, to track Brock Harlow's activities. He's made contact with someone from Onyx International, Maddox reported during a secure meeting at Reed's downtown office. 3 meetings in the last month. Reed's eyes narrowed. Onyx International was a private military contractor with a questionable reputation, rumored to buy intelligence on high-value targets. Any direct evidence of data transfer? Not yet, but Harlow's spending patterns have changed. Deposits of $50,000 have been made to an offshore account we traced to him. Started 4 months ago, around the time Aurora began spending more time at the studio, Reed noted. There's more, Maddox hesitated. Aurora's been taking Lily to see a psychologist. Dr. Sophia Bennett. I wasn't informed of this. Exactly. And Dr. Bennett has testified in over 30 custody cases in the last 5 years, always supporting the mother's claims. Reed steepled his fingers. She's building a case, setting the stage to claim I'm an unfit father. Looks that way. And she's succeeding with Lily. The girl's behavior toward you has changed. Reed had noticed. His once affectionate daughter had grown distant, making excuses to avoid spending time with him. When they did interact, she seemed guarded, even afraid. That night, Reed found Lily alone in the kitchen. She stiffened when he entered. "How are you doing, sweetheart?" he asked casually, pouring himself a glass of water. "Fine," she muttered, gathering her homework. "I noticed you've been seeing Dr. Bennett. Is everything okay?" Lily's head snapped up, eyes wide. "How did you know about that? I'm your father. I should know if you're seeing a doctor. Mom said you wouldn't understand, that you'd try to control this like everything else." Reed kept his expression neutral. "What else has Mom said about me?" Lily hesitated. Then something hardened in her expression. "That you're dangerous. That your work has put us all at risk, and that we might need to get away from you. Do you believe that?" "I don't know what to believe anymore." Her voice cracked. "But Mom doesn't track my phone or have people following me like you do." Reed felt a cold shock. "What makes you think I have people following you?" "Mr. Harlow saw them. He said it's because you're paranoid and controlling." Reed nodded slowly. So they were manipulating his daughter, using his legitimate security concerns to paint him as unstable. "Lily, has Mom or Mr. Harlow ever asked you questions about my work? About my clients?" She looked away, confirming his suspicions. "Whatever you've told them, I'm not angry. But I need to know. Just about the senator," she whispered. "And the witness, the woman from the Carlton case. Mom said you were putting us in danger by having them as clients." The Carlton case. A high-profile murder trial where Blackburn Security was protecting the key witness. Information that could get someone killed if it fell into the wrong hands. As Lily left the kitchen, Reed's phone vibrated. A text from Aurora, working late at the studio. "Don't wait up." Reed smiled grimly. It was time to accelerate his plans. The next day, Aurora served him with divorce papers while the twins were at school. She sat across from him at the kitchen island, her expression cold and determined. "I want full custody," she stated. "Your work makes you an unfit parent. Your obsession with security, the dangerous people you associate with, it's not healthy for the children." Reed scanned the documents, his face betraying nothing of the rage churning inside. "You've been planning this for some time. I need protection from you, Reed. Dr. Bennett agrees that your controlling behavior constitutes emotional abuse." "And what does Brock Harlow think?" Reed asked quietly. Aurora paled slightly before regaining her composure. "Brock has been supportive. He's helped me see how unhealthy this marriage has become." "I'm sure he has." Reed set down the papers. "I won't contest the divorce, Aurora. But I will fight for my children." "You'll lose," she said with sudden venom. "I have documentation of your instability, your paranoia, the way you track everyone's movements. By the time I'm done, you'll be lucky if the judge grants you supervised visitation." Reed stood. "We'll let the courts decide." As Aurora left, satisfied she'd drawn first blood, Reed contacted his attorney, Travis Winslow. Unlike the divorce lawyers who shuttled between wealthy clients in messy separations, Travis was a former prosecutor with connections throughout the justice system. "She's moving faster than we anticipated," Reed explained, forwarding the divorce documents. "Interesting timing," Travis noted. "Your government contract is up for renewal next month. If your security clearance were to be compromised by accusations in a messy divorce." "Exactly." She's trying to destroy my reputation and my company while stealing classified information. The recording devices in the studio. Still active, but they're careful. I need more. What are you thinking? Reed's voice was steady. I'm thinking it's time to set a trap. Chapter 3. Baiting the trap. The stage was set. Reed had allowed strategic evidence to fall into Aurora and Brock's hands. Seemingly sensitive information about Blackburn Securities' protection of Senator Helena Morrison, a key witness in an upcoming federal case against several high-ranking members of a drug cartel. In reality, the information was carefully crafted disinformation, approved by both the senator and FBI Special Agent Quentin Drake, who had been investigating data leaks targeting protected witnesses for months. Maddox had confirmed that Aurora and Brock were planning to meet with a representative from Onyx International that evening. The exchange would take place at their usual meeting spot, the art studio, likely chosen because they believed Reed wouldn't suspect activities happening on his own property. Lily had been distant all week, clearly troubled by the divorce proceedings, but still firmly under her mother's influence. Liam, however, had become Reed's quiet ally, providing crucial information about Aurora's movements and activities. She told Lily that after the divorce, we'd move to Europe with her and Brock. Liam informed Reed as they sat in his home office. Lily seemed excited about it. Reed absorbed the pain of this betrayal without flinching. And how do you feel about that plan? Liam's expression hardened. I know what they're doing is wrong. They're not just breaking up our family, they're breaking the law. Which is why we need to be careful going forward, Reed stressed. What we're planning tonight, it needs to happen exactly as we've discussed. Later that evening, Reed sat in his darkened office, watching multiple surveillance feeds. Aurora had left for the studio an hour earlier, followed by Brock 30 minutes later. Now a third car was approaching, a black SUV with diplomatic plates that Maddox had confirmed belonged to Onyx International. As Reed monitored the situation, Agent Drake and his team maintained positions around the property, out of sight, but ready to move on Reed's signal. Reed checked his watch. Everything was proceeding according to plan. In 15 minutes, Liam would execute his part of the operation, providing the distraction they needed. Right on schedule, Reed's phone rang with a call from Liam. It's done, Dad, he said. Mom just got a text saying there's been a breach at the office. She and Brock are panicking. Reed switched to the studio feed, where he could see Aurora and Brock arguing with the Onyx representative. Aurora was gesturing frantically at her laptop, while Brock paced nervously. Reed activated the enhanced audio. Need to move now, Aurora was saying. If Reed has discovered the breach, we don't have much time. The information is incomplete, the Onyx representative replied coldly. My employer requires the complete security protocols for Senator Morrison, including safe house locations. We've given you everything we have access to, Brock argued. The rest of the payment will be made when you provide what was promised. The man cut him off. You assured us your husband's security systems could be bypassed. They can, Aurora insisted. But we need more time. Once the divorce is finalized and Reed's credibility is destroyed, I'll have access to everything. The court date is set for next week. Reed had heard enough. He sent a text to Agent Drake. Execute now. Within moments, FBI agents stormed the studio, catching all three conspirators red-handed with classified information displayed on Aurora's laptop. Reed watched impassively as Aurora and Brock were placed in handcuffs, their expressions of shock giving way to rage when Agent Drake mentioned that Reed had been cooperating with their investigation. Reed turned off the feed and poured himself a bourbon. Phase 1 was complete, but the custody battle remained. Aurora would fight dirty, using every resource at her disposal to turn his children against him. She would claim he had set her up, that he was the dangerous one. Reed took a slow sip of his drink. Let her try. He was just getting started. Chapter 4. Courtroom Revelations. The county courthouse buzzed with tension as Reed took his seat at the defendant's table. Despite Aurora being the one arrested for attempted espionage, her legal team had maneuvered to keep the custody hearing separate from her criminal case, arguing that Reed's entrapment of their client demonstrated his manipulative and dangerous nature, further evidence that he was unfit to parent. Aurora sat across the aisle, somehow managing to look both vulnerable and dignified in a conservative cream suit that contrasted sharply with her electronic monitoring ankle bracelet. She'd been released on house arrest pending trial, staying with her sister Penelope in a downtown apartment. Beside Aurora sat her attorney, Sylvia Thornton, a shark in the family court system known for her aggressive tactics and theatrical courtroom performances. And beside Sylvia was Dr. Sophia Bennett, the psychologist who had been treating Lily for months. Reed's attorney, Travis, leaned over. "They're bringing Lily in to testify. Be prepared, they've been coaching her." Reed nodded, his expression revealing nothing of the turmoil inside him. The thought of his daughter testifying against him cut deeper than Aurora's betrayal. Judge Leonard Bishop entered, a stern man with a reputation for no-nonsense proceedings. Sylvia wasted no time launching her attack, painting Reed as an obsessively controlling husband and father whose security measures bordered on psychological abuse. Mr. Blackburn monitored his family's every movement, she declared, installed surveillance in their home, tracked their phones, and created an environment of constant suspicion. Is it any wonder Mrs. Blackburn sought comfort elsewhere? Travis objected to the characterization, but the damage was done. Judge Bishop's expression had darkened. When Lily took the stand, Reed had to force himself to maintain his composure. His daughter couldn't meet his eyes as she described living under his constant surveillance. "He always knew where we were, who we talked to," she testified nervously. "Mom said it wasn't normal, but we were afraid to challenge him." "Did your father ever threaten you directly?" Sylvia asked. Not directly," Lily stammered. "But he made it clear what would happen to people who betrayed him." "Objection," Travis called, leading the witness. Sustained, Judge Bishop ruled. When Dr. Bennett took the stand, she presented a devastating psychological profile of Reed, diagnosing him with narcissistic personality disorder and paranoid tendencies based on her sessions with Lily. "In my professional opinion," she concluded, "Mr. Blackburn's controlling behavior creates a hostile environment for adolescent development. The children, especially Lily, show signs of psychological distress consistent with emotional abuse." By the time Aurora took the stand, the courtroom atmosphere had shifted decidedly against Reed. She played her role perfectly, the frightened wife who had made a terrible mistake, but only because she feared for her children's safety. "Yes, I engaged in an inappropriate relationship," she admitted tearfully. "And yes, I made poor choices regarding some of Reed's business information. But I was desperate. Reed controlled every aspect of our lives. When Brock showed me kindness and understanding, I saw a way out for me and my children." "Did you ever fear for your physical safety?" Sylvia asked. "Every day," Aurora whispered. "Reed is calculating. He doesn't yell or hit. His threats are subtle, implied." During the lunch recess, Reed and Travis conferred in a private room. "They're effective," Travis admitted. "The judge is leaning towards supervised visitation at best." Reed's eyes were cold. Time for phase 2. When court reconvened, Travis called Liam to the stand. Unlike his sister, Liam met his father's gaze steadily. "Liam, how would you describe your relationship with your father?" Travis asked. "Honest," Liam replied. "Dad always taught us that integrity matters above all. That's why." He hesitated. "Take your time," Travis encouraged. "That's why I went to him when I discovered what Mom and Mr. Harlow were planning." A murmur swept through the courtroom. Aurora's confident expression faltered. "Could you elaborate?" Travis prompted. "I found messages between them. About selling information. About using Lily and me as pawns to get access to Dad's secure files." Liam's voice strengthened. "Mom started taking Lily to Dr. Bennett right after she and Mr. Harlow began discussing how to get custody. I heard them planning it." Sylvia was on her feet instantly. "Objection. Hearsay." "Your Honor," Travis intervened. "We have evidence to support these claims." Judge Bishop considered this. "I'll allow it, but I want to see this evidence." Travis nodded to Reed, who opened his briefcase and removed a sealed envelope, handing it to the bailiff. "These are transcripts of recordings made on my property," Reed explained as the judge examined the contents. "In my guest house, which was converted to an art studio." Aurora half rose from her seat, face draining of color. "You can't. Those are private." "Mrs. Blackburn," Judge Bishop warned. "Control yourself or you'll be removed." After reviewing the transcripts, the judge's expression had transformed from skepticism to growing concern. He looked up at Reed. "Do you have the actual recordings?" "Yes, Your Honor. And with the court's permission, I'd like to play one now." The judge nodded grimly. "Proceed." Travis connected Reed's laptop to the courtroom's audio system. The recording began with Aurora's voice, crystal clear. The plan is working perfectly. Lily completely believes Reed is dangerous. Dr. Bennett says 3 more sessions, and she'll have enough to make the abuse claims stick. Brock Harlow's voice responded, "What about Liam? He's more resistant, but once Lily testifies, he'll fall in line. Teenagers hate being separated from their twin. Once we have custody, we'll have access to everything. The Morrison security protocols alone are worth millions to Onyx. And if Reed fights it." Aurora's laugh was chilling. "Then we release the doctored recordings of him threatening me. I've been collecting snippets for months, editing them together. Between that and the psychological evaluation Dr. Bennett is preparing, he'll be lucky if he doesn't end up committed." The courtroom fell silent. Dr. Bennett had gone pale, while Aurora stared at Reed with naked hatred. "Your Honor," Travis said quietly, "we have dozens more recordings like this one, all made legally on Mr. Blackburn's property. They demonstrate conclusively that Mrs. Blackburn's custody claim is part of an espionage operation that put national security at risk." Judge Bishop's expression had hardened. "Ms. Thornton, do you wish to respond to this evidence?" Sylvia appeared shaken. "Your Honor, we request time to review these recordings and their provenance." Denied, the judge cut her off. "I've seen enough." He turned to Reed. "Mr. Blackburn, are law enforcement authorities aware of these recordings?" "Yes, Your Honor. The FBI has authenticated them as part of their ongoing investigation. Special Agent Quentin Drake is present in the courtroom today and can confirm this." A man in a dark suit stood from the gallery, nodding his confirmation. Judge Bishop surveyed the courtroom, his gaze finally settling on Lily, who sat frozen in shock, tears streaming down her face as she stared at her mother. "This court will recess for 1 hour," he announced. "When we return, I'll issue my ruling on custody. And Mrs. Blackburn," he added severely, "I suggest you contact your criminal attorney immediately." Chapter 5, Broken Bonds. The judge's decision had been swift and unequivocal. Full custody was granted to Reed, with Aurora's visitation rights suspended pending the outcome of her criminal trial. As they exited the courthouse, Reed guided Liam past the media circus while Agent Drake escorted Lily to a waiting SUV. Aurora, being led away by federal officers after the judge had revoked her bail, screamed accusations at Reed. "This isn't over. You set me up. Tell them, Lily. Tell them what your father really is." Lily, pale and confused, couldn't look at either parent. At home, Reed gave the twins space to process everything they'd learned. Liam seemed relieved that the truth was finally out, but Lily had retreated into herself, locked in her bedroom since their return. That evening, Reed knocked gently on her door. "Lily, can we talk?" After a long pause, she opened the door. Her eyes were red-rimmed from crying, her expression guarded. "I don't know what to believe anymore," she whispered. Reed nodded. "That's understandable. Your mother and I both told you different versions of the truth. She used me." Lily's voice cracked. "Set me against you. Made me say those things in court. You believed you were protecting yourself and your brother," Reed said carefully. "You're not to blame for that. But I should have known. Should have seen through it." Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "How can you even look at me after what I said about you? What I thought about you?" Reed took a measured breath. "Because you're my daughter, and you were manipulated by adults you trusted." "Liam wasn't fooled," she countered bitterly. "Liam saw things you didn't," Reed explained. "He overheard conversations between your mother and Brock that made him suspicious." Lily sank onto her bed. "Dr. Bennett told me you were dangerous, that your security measures were signs of mental illness." She looked up, searching his face. "But they weren't, were they? You knew something was wrong." "I suspected," Reed admitted. "And yes, I increased security. Not because I'm paranoid, but because my instincts told me something was off. Mom said you never trusted her, that you controlled everything because you couldn't stand not being in charge." Reed considered his response carefully. Control and protection can look similar from the outside. I've spent my career protecting people. When I sense a threat to my family, I react accordingly. By spying on us. Lily challenged, a flash of anger breaking through her grief. By monitoring unusual patterns, Reed corrected. When your mother suddenly started spending nights in the guest house, when your behavior toward me changed dramatically, when sensitive information started appearing in unexpected places, yes, I investigated. And recorded them. Trap them. Reed didn't flinch from her accusation. Yes. Once I knew what they were planning, I gathered evidence. They were selling classified information that put lives at risk, Lily, using you and your brother as pawns. She was silent for a long moment. The FBI agent who drove me home. He said Mom might go to prison for a long time. That's likely, yes. And Brock too. Reed nodded. What about Dr. Bennett? She's being investigated for professional misconduct and possible conspiracy. Lily drew her knees up to her chest. Everything's destroyed. Not everything, Reed said quietly. You and Liam are safe. The truth is out. We can rebuild from here. I don't know if I can trust you, she admitted in a small voice. Or anyone. Reed felt the sting of her words, but kept his expression neutral. Trust takes time to rebuild. I don't expect it overnight. As he turned to leave, Lily called after him. Dad, the things Mom and Brock were doing, selling information, would it really have hurt people? Reed paused in the doorway. Yes. The information they were trying to access would have compromised the safety of witnesses in federal protection. People who testified against dangerous criminals. Their actions could have gotten those witnesses killed. Lily's eyes widened as the full implications sank in. And they were using me to help them do it. They were using all of us, Reed confirmed. But they failed. 3 days later, Reed received a call from Agent Drake. We've got a problem. The Onyx representative made bail and disappeared. We think he's still after the Morrison security protocols. Reed frowned. My security has been upgraded. They won't get access through my systems. It's not your systems I'm worried about, Drake said grimly. We've intercepted communications suggesting they have another asset in place. Someone with direct access to the twins. Reed's blood ran cold. Who? We're not certain, but based on school surveillance, we believe it's someone at Westlake Academy. Possibly a teacher or counselor. After ending the call, Reed immediately pulled up the school's staff directory. The twins had been attending Westlake since returning to school after the custody hearing. Reed had chosen it specifically for its enhanced security and discreet armed guards, a school that catered to the children of diplomats and high-profile figures. As he scrolled through the staff photos, his attention caught on a familiar face, Melanie Winters, the school's new guidance counselor. Reed enlarged the photo, studying it carefully before running it through his facial recognition software. The program matched her to another identity, Cassandra Vega, former Onyx operative, presumed dead after a mission in Ecuador 3 years ago. He immediately called Maddox. I need extraction for both twins from Westlake. Now. No alerts to the school administration. What's happening? Maddox asked. Onyx has someone inside. The guidance counselor. She's been meeting with Lily daily since she started there last week. Reed's mind raced as he prepared to secure his children. What information had Lily shared with this woman? How much did she know about the Morrison security protocols? Had Aurora and Brock planned this contingency all along? His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Your daughter is very cooperative. Would be a shame if something happened to her. Morrison protocols by midnight, or you'll see just how ruthless Onyx can be. Attached was a photo of Lily sitting in the guidance counselor's office, looking vulnerable and unaware of the danger. Reed's expression hardened as he armed himself and prepared to protect his family. Aurora's betrayal had endangered their children one final time, and now he would end this threat permanently. Chapter 6. The Counterstrike. Reed moved with cold precision. No longer the betrayed husband, but the former intelligence operative who had built a security empire. He contacted Agent Drake, sharing the intelligence about Cassandra Vega's infiltration of Westlake Academy, but made it clear he would handle the immediate extraction of his children personally. This is now an active FBI operation, Drake protested. We can have a tactical team. By the time your team assembles, my children could be gone, Reed cut him off. I'm moving now. You can meet me there or clean up afterward. Reed activated the emergency protocols he'd established for exactly this scenario. Within 5 minutes, Maddox had assembled a 4-person extraction team, all former Special Operations personnel who now worked for Blackburn Security. Meanwhile, Reed remotely accessed Westlake's security system using the backdoor he'd installed when enrolling the twins. He located Liam in his calculus class, appearing normal. But Lily was missing from her literature course. The school's internal cameras showed her still in the guidance counselor's office, now alone with Cassandra Vega. As Reed and his team approached Westlake, he reviewed the building schematics on his tablet. Maddox, you extract Liam. Use Protocol Falcon. He'll recognize it. I'll handle Lily. Carson and Jenkins, secure the exits. Martinez, neutralize their security system. The extraction began with surgical precision. Martinez disabled the school's alarm and communication systems, while Carson and Jenkins secured the perimeter exits in maintenance uniforms. Maddox entered through the main entrance with a legitimate visitor pass. Reed had ensured his team members were all on the approved visitor list for just such emergencies. Reed himself accessed the building through the service entrance, moving silently through the back corridors toward the guidance counselor's office. Through his earpiece, he heard Maddox confirm, Falcon secure. Moving to extraction point Alpha. Good. Liam was safe. Now for Lily. Outside the guidance office, Reed paused to assess. Through the frosted glass window, he could see two figures. Lily seated in a chair, Cassandra standing behind her. Reed activated the thermal imaging on his specialized glasses, confirming what he suspected. Cassandra was armed. His phone vibrated with another text from the unknown number. Time's running out, Blackburn. The protocols, or your daughter. Simple choice. Reed typed back, coming to you now with the data. No harm to my daughter. He needed Cassandra to believe she had won, to lower her guard just enough. Reed knocked on the office door, entering without waiting for a response. Cassandra Vega, or Melanie Winters as she was known at the school, looked up with practiced concern that quickly shifted to recognition. Mr. Blackburn, she said smoothly. Lily and I were just having a counseling session about her adjustment after the recent family changes. Lily looked up, confusion crossing her features. Dad, what are you doing here? Early dismissal today, remember? Reed smiled at his daughter, his demeanor casual while his eyes communicated urgency. The dentist appointment. Lily's brow furrowed, but years of family emergency drills kicked in. She recognized the code phrase. Right, I forgot. Cassandra's hand moved subtly toward her desk drawer. I wasn't informed about any early dismissal. It was arranged last week, Reed replied, moving into the room and positioning himself between Lily and Cassandra. I have the protocols you wanted. On an encrypted drive. He patted his jacket pocket. Cassandra's eyes narrowed. What protocols, Mr. Blackburn? I'm afraid I don't understand. I think you do, Ms. Vega. Or would you prefer Cassandra? Her expression hardened, the pretense dropping away. So we're being direct now. Good. Where are the Morrison protocols? Right here, Reed said, reaching slowly into his jacket. But my daughter leaves first. That wasn't the arrangement. It is now. Their standoff was interrupted by the school's fire alarm. The signal that Martinez had completed his task of disabling all security cameras and communication systems. In the moment of distraction, Reed lunged forward, simultaneously pushing Lily toward the door and grabbing Cassandra's wrist as she reached for her concealed weapon. The struggle was brief but violent. Despite her training, Cassandra was unprepared for Reed's speed and precision. Within seconds, he had disarmed her and pinned her to the wall, her own weapon now pressed against her throat. Lily, go now, Reed ordered, his voice calm despite the violence of the moment. Maddox is waiting by the east exit. Lily stood frozen, witnessing this side of her father for the first time. Efficient, lethal, completely in control. Now, Lily, Reed repeated, and this time she ran. Once Lily was clear, Reed's grip on Cassandra tightened. Who else is involved? Who's running this operation now that your Onyx contact is in the wind? Cassandra laughed despite her precarious position. You think this ends with me? Aurora provided enough information before her arrest. We know the safe house rotations, the transfer protocols. You have fragments, Reed corrected. Useless without the encryption keys. Which is why we needed your daughter. So obliging. So eager to talk about her father's work to someone who would listen. Cold rage filled Reed. What did you tell her? That her mother was framed. That you manipulated evidence to destroy Aurora. Cassandra's smile was venomous. The girl was so eager to believe it. So desperate to have her mother back. Children are remarkably easy to turn against a parent. The door burst open as Agent Drake entered with his weapon drawn. FBI. Hands where I can see them. Reed stepped back smoothly, allowing Drake to take control of Cassandra. As the agent secured her, Reed retrieved his phone and pulled up the recording app that had been active since he entered the office. Full confession, he told Drake, transferring the file. And confirmation that Aurora was working with Onyx all along. Drake nodded grimly. Your children? Secure. Maddox has them at the extraction point. Reed's expression was resolute. But this isn't over. There are others involved. We'll find them, Drake assured him. Reed shook his head. No, I will. Outside, Reed found Lily and Liam waiting in his armored SUV with Maddox. Lily's face was pale with shock. You hurt that woman, she said as Reed slid into the driver's seat. I neutralized a threat, Reed corrected. She wasn't a guidance counselor, Lily. She was an Onyx operative working with your mother. She was using you to get classified information. Lily's expression crumpled. I told her things. About your work. About the safe houses. I thought she was helping me understand why Mom did what she did. It's not your fault, Reed said firmly, though inside he was calculating the damage, the risk to his clients. She was trained to manipulate, to exploit vulnerabilities. Just like Mom did, Liam observed quietly. The drive home was silent, the twins processing yet another betrayal, another layer of deception. Reed's mind was already moving forward, planning his next steps against Onyx and anyone else connected to Aurora's espionage network. At home, with the twins safely inside and security enhanced, Reed received a call from Travis. Aurora's requesting a meeting, his attorney informed him. Says she has critical information about Onyx's plans. Information that affects the twins' safety. Reed considered this. She's desperate, trying to leverage her way into a better plea deal. Probably, Travis agreed. But FBI counterintelligence thinks there might be something to it. They've authorized a supervised meeting. Reed's jaw tightened. When and where? Federal Detention Center. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. After ending the call, Reed checked on the twins. Liam was in the kitchen, making coffee as if it were any normal afternoon. His son's resilience impressed Reed. You okay? Reed asked. Liam shrugged. Getting there. It helps to have warned you from the beginning. Makes me feel less complicit. Reed nodded, understanding. Where's your sister? Her room. She's pretty messed up about all this. Reed found Lily sitting on her bed, staring at a family photo taken 3 years earlier, before Aurora's betrayal began, when they still resembled a happy family. You were different today, she said without looking up. With that woman. The counselor. Reed sat beside her. That's a side of me I try to keep separate from my role as your father. But it's still you. Lily finally met his gaze. The man who can hurt people like that. When necessary, Reed acknowledged. When those I care about are threatened. Mom said you were dangerous. I guess she wasn't entirely wrong. Reed considered this. There's a difference between being dangerous and being a threat. I'm dangerous to those who threaten my family, my clients, the people under my protection. I always have been. Your mother knew that when she married me. And then she became one of those threats, Lily whispered. Yes. Will you ever forgive her? Reed's expression hardened almost imperceptibly. No, even though she's my mother? Being your mother doesn't excuse what she did, Reed said quietly. She put you and Liam in danger. Used you as pawns. Some betrayals can't be forgiven, Lily. And me? Lily asked, her voice small. Will you forgive me for believing her? For testifying against you? Reed studied his daughter. So like Aurora in appearance, yet with a vulnerability that Aurora had never truly possessed. You were a victim of her manipulation, he said finally. Not an accomplice. It wasn't quite forgiveness, and Lily recognized the distinction. She nodded slowly, accepting what he offered. It was a beginning. As Reed left her room, his phone buzzed with a message from an encrypted number he recognized as Maddox's emergency line. Surveillance confirms Onyx reinforcements arriving in the city. 6 operatives. Heavy hitters. They're not here for negotiations. Reed's expression hardened as he typed back. Then neither am I. Chapter 7. Shattered Illusions. The Federal Detention Center was a stark concrete structure on the outskirts of the city. Reed passed through multiple security checkpoints, surrendering his phone and submitting to a thorough scan before being escorted to a private interview room where Aurora waited. She looked diminished in her orange jumpsuit, the polished glamour stripped away to reveal the hard edges beneath. Still beautiful, but now Reed could clearly see the calculation in her eyes that he had once mistaken for intelligence. Agent Drake stood in the corner, observing, while Travis sat beside Reed. You look well, Aurora said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Fatherhood suits you. Let's skip the pleasantries, Reed replied evenly. You claim to have information about Onyx's plans. Information relevant to our children's safety. Aurora's lips curved in a bitter smile. Our children. So they're ours again when their safety is at stake. Tick-tock, Aurora, Travis interjected. This meeting has a time limit. She leaned forward. Onyx isn't after your security protocols anymore, Reed. That was just phase 1. They wanted access to your client list, specifically the government officials you protect. Why? Because someone is paying them an extraordinary amount of money to eliminate 3 specific targets from that list. Senator Morrison is one of them. Reed's expression remained neutral, though his mind was rapidly processing this information. And the others? Judge William Hargrove and Assistant Director Catherine Chun from the Witness Protection Program. All 3 were connected to the upcoming RICO trial against the Mendoza cartel. Reed had suspected cartel involvement from the beginning, but confirmation was valuable. That's old information, Reed dismissed. We've already enhanced security for all 3. Aurora's eyes flashed. The danger isn't just to them. It's to Lily and Liam. Onyx knows they've lost their inside track with me. They've designated the twins as high-value leverage points. Reed felt cold rage building, but kept his voice level. Meaning they plan to abduct one or both of them to force your cooperation. Aurora's facade cracked slightly. Whatever I've done, they're still my children. I won't let them be used like that. Like you used them? Travis asked pointedly. Aurora ignored him, focusing on Reed. Brock was the one who made the original contact with Onyx. I didn't know how deep he was until it was too late. When I tried to back out, they made it clear that wasn't an option. You expect us to believe you were coerced? Agent Drake interjected skeptically. Believe what you want, Aurora snapped. But Onyx plays for keeps. Their operational director is a man named Victor Crane, former Black Ops, disavowed after a mission in Belarus went wrong. He specializes in using family members as leverage. Reed's mind flashed to the Onyx operative who had infiltrated Westlake Academy as a guidance counselor. We're already aware they targeted Lily at school. That was just the beginning, Aurora warned. Crane has a 3-phase approach. First, he isolates the target from support systems. Then he applies pressure through someone the target trusts. Finally, he eliminates all witnesses once he has what he wants. And you know this how? Reed asked. Because he explained it all when he recruited Brock, Aurora admitted. He wanted us to understand there was no backing out. Reed studied his wife, the woman he had once trusted above all others. Even now, with her credibility shattered, he could detect elements of truth in what she was saying. The intelligence matched what he knew about Onyx's operational patterns. There's more, Aurora continued. Crane doesn't trust digital information. He insists on face-to-face exchanges. He's coming here personally for the Morrison protocols. Tonight. Where? Reed demanded. The old Meridian Hotel downtown. It's been closed for renovation. Neutral ground. Agent Drake stepped forward. We'll set up a sting operation. He'll spot federal agents a mile away, Aurora warned. He wants Reed alone. Not happening, Travis stated firmly. Reed remained silent, calculating possibilities. There's one more thing, Aurora said, her voice dropping. The twins aren't the only leverage they plan to use against you. She slid a photograph across the table. Reed looked down at the image, his aging father, Marshall Blackburn, sitting on the porch of his remote Montana cabin. They've had him under surveillance for weeks, Aurora explained. Crane believes family is everyone's weakness, even yours. Reed's expression didn't change, but something deadly shifted in his eyes. If you're lying about any of this, he began. I'm not, Aurora interrupted. I've done terrible things, Reed. I betrayed you, used our children, but I never intended for them to be in physical danger. Intent means nothing, Reed replied coldly. Only consequences. As the meeting concluded and guards led Aurora away, she called over her shoulder. Reed, don't underestimate Crane. He's not like other opponents. Outside, Travis and Agent Drake debated strategy while Reed remained silent. We need to move your father to a secure location, Drake suggested, and keep the twins under lock and key until this is resolved. Reed finally spoke. No, we don't hide. We end this. How? Travis asked. By giving Crane exactly what he wants, Reed replied. Me. Alone. With the protocols. Drake shook his head. That's suicide. It would be, if I were actually going alone, Reed agreed. But Crane isn't the only one who can set a trap. Later that evening, Reed briefed Maddox and his security team in the fortified command center beneath his home. The twins were upstairs, protected by additional security personnel and unaware of the operation taking shape. Crane expects me to come desperate and unprepared, Reed explained, displaying building schematics of the Meridian Hotel. He knows I've learned about the threats to my family, so he'll anticipate I'll be emotional, prone to mistakes. And instead, Maddox prompted, instead, we control every aspect of the environment. Reed highlighted key points on the blueprint. Martinez will disable the hotel's existing security and replace it with our own. Carson and Jenkins will secure these access points. Maddox, you'll be my shadow, close enough to intervene if necessary, invisible to everyone else. And the FBI? Martinez asked. At a distance, Reed replied. Ready to move and once we've confirmed Crane's presence and intentions. As the team dispersed to prepare, Reed opened a hidden safe in his office wall, removing a black case containing specialized equipment he hadn't used since his military intelligence days. His phone rang. Liam, everything okay up there? Reed asked, keeping his voice casual. Yeah, just checking on you, Liam replied. You seem intense today. Just work stress, Reed assured him. How's your sister? Quiet. She's been in her room most of the day. Liam hesitated. Did Mom tell you anything useful? Reed considered how much to share. Some intelligence about Onyx. Nothing for you to worry about. Dad, Liam's voice grew serious. We've been lied to enough. If there's danger, we should know. Reed recognized the maturity in his son's request. You're right. There's a credible threat against our family. I'm handling it tonight. Is that why there are extra security guards walking the perimeter? Yes. Stay inside. Keep an eye on your sister. Will do, Liam promised. Be careful. After ending the call, Reed completed his preparations. By midnight, he was approaching the darkened Meridian Hotel, seemingly alone, a secure tablet containing the Morrison protocols tucked inside his jacket. The hotel's grand lobby was dimly lit by emergency lighting, construction materials scattered across what had once been a luxury space. Reed moved with controlled awareness, every sense attuned to his surroundings. East and west entrances secured. Martinez's voice whispered through his nearly invisible earpiece. Security systems under our control. Reed acknowledged with a subtle tap on his wristwatch. Movement on the mezzanine level, Maddox reported. 3 individuals. Armed. Reed continued toward the central staircase, projecting confidence mixed with just enough caution to be credible. He needed Crane to believe he was walking into the trap while remaining unaware of the countermeasures in place. As he reached the second-floor landing, lights suddenly blazed on, momentarily blinding him. A classic intimidation tactic. When his vision cleared, Reed found himself facing Victor Crane, flanked by 2 operatives. Crane was older than Reed had expected, late 50s, with silver-streaked hair and the weathered face of a man who had spent decades in hostile environments. His eyes were his most striking feature, pale blue and utterly devoid of emotion. Reed Blackburn, Crane acknowledged. Your reputation precedes you. As does yours, Reed replied evenly. Victor Crane, disavowed after Belarus. Black market intelligence broker. Crane smiled thinly. I see Aurora has been forthcoming. How is your soon-to-be ex-wife enjoying federal detention? Let's skip the small talk, Reed suggested. I have what you want. He patted his jacket. The complete Morrison security protocols. And you're simply handing them over, Crane observed skeptically. Out of concern for your family, I presume. Family changes everything, Reed agreed. Even for men like us. Indeed it does, Crane nodded to one of his operatives, who stepped forward with a tablet. Verify the protocols are complete before proceeding. Reed removed the secure tablet from his jacket, entering a complex password to unlock it. The encryption key is integrated. Once verified, the protocols are yours. As the operative took the tablet, Reed noted the subtle shift in Crane's posture, the slight relaxation that suggested he believed he was in control of the situation. You know what happens once I have what I need, Crane stated, not a question but a fact. Reed maintained eye contact. You eliminate loose ends. Starting with me. It's nothing personal, Crane assured him. Just operational security. I understand completely, Reed replied. Which is why I took precautions. Crane's expression hardened. What precautions? The protocols are genuine, Reed explained. but they're also tagged. The moment they're extracted from that tablet, a signal activates. Every intelligence agency with an interest in your activities will know exactly where to find you. The operative looking at the tablet froze. Sir, there's some kind of embedded code. Crane's hand moved toward his weapon, but Reed was already in motion. With practiced efficiency, he disabled the nearest operative while Maddox, timing his entrance perfectly, took down the second. Crane himself proved more challenging. Despite his age, he moved with the precision of someone who had spent a lifetime in lethal situations. The two men grappled briefly before Reed gained the upper hand, slamming Crane against a marble column. "You're operatives at my children's school," Reed growled, tightening his grip on Crane's throat. "Your surveillance of my father. Did you really think I wouldn't respond appropriately?" "Family," Crane gasped. "Everyone's weakness. Even yours." "No," Reed corrected, his voice deadly calm. "Family is why I excel at eliminating threats. Permanently." Before Crane could respond, FBI agents stormed the mezzanine, led by Agent Drake. Reed released Crane, stepping back as the agents secured him. "Perfect timing," Reed commented as Drake approached. Drake surveyed the scene, two unconscious operatives and a subdued Crane. "The signals from your tablet worked perfectly. We've got teams moving on 3 other Onyx locations simultaneously." Reed nodded. "And my father?" "Secure. Our Montana office has him in protective custody." As the FBI led Crane away, the mercenary called back to Reed. "This isn't over, Blackburn. Onyx has resources you can't imagine." Reed watched him go, unmoved by the threat. "They had Aurora, and they failed. They won't get another chance." Back home, Reed found Liam waiting up for him in the kitchen. "It's done?" his son asked. Reed nodded, pouring himself a small bourbon. "The immediate threat is neutralized. And Mom, her cooperation will likely reduce her sentence," Reed acknowledged. "But she'll still serve significant time." Liam absorbed this. Lily's been asking questions. "About what happens after all this. Where we go from here." Reed considered this. "What do you think should happen?" "I think." Liam chose his words carefully. "I think we need a fresh start. Away from the memories in this house." Reed nodded slowly. "I've been thinking the same thing. I have property in Colorado. Mountain views. Good security. Different schools. Lily will need time," Liam cautioned, "to process everything. To trust again." "We all will," Reed agreed, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. "But we'll do it together." As Liam headed upstairs, Reed's phone buzzed with a message from Travis. "Aurora requesting another meeting. Says there's more you need to know about Onyx's network. Specifically about someone close to you who might be compromised." Reed stared at the message, suspicion building. Aurora had provided valuable intelligence about Crane, but her motives remained questionable. Was this another manipulation? Another attempt to sow distrust? Or was there truly someone else in his inner circle who couldn't be trusted? Chapter 8. Masks Removed. 2 days after Crane's arrest, Reed sat across from Aurora in the same sterile meeting room at the Federal Detention Center. This time, he'd come alone, a calculated risk, but necessary to encourage Aurora's full disclosure. "No lawyer today," she remarked, noticing Travis's absence. "Just us," Reed confirmed. "You claim someone close to me is compromised. I want names, evidence, and complete transparency." Aurora leaned forward, her voice dropping. "Maddox Warren." Reed kept his expression neutral despite the shock of hearing his most trusted colleague's name. "Explain." "He's been working with Onyx for years," Aurora said. "Long before I met Brock. In fact, he's the one who suggested Brock approach me in the first place." "You expect me to believe my head of security, my friend of 20 years, is a traitor based solely on your word?" Reed's tone remained even despite his skepticism. Aurora slid a small paper across the table. "Not my word. This is the routing number for an offshore account in Maddox's name. It receives regular payments from an Onyx shell corporation." Reed memorized the number without touching the paper. "If this is true, why tell me now?" "Because Maddox knows I know," Aurora explained. "With Crane in custody, he'll be desperate. Dangerous. He might view the twins as loose ends." "And you suddenly care about their safety?" Reed's skepticism was evident. Aurora's expression hardened. "They're my children too, Reed. Whatever you think of me, I never intended for them to be physically harmed." "Intentions," Reed dismissed. "Always your defense." "Not a defense," she countered. "Just truth. Maddox has been playing us both. He encouraged my resentment, fed my belief that you were controlling, paranoid. Reed considered this. Certain inconsistencies in recent operations suddenly made more sense if Maddox had been subtly undermining their security. The school breach, the timing of Crane's intel, all would have been facilitated by inside information. I'll need more than a bank account number, Reed stated. Aurora nodded to the guard, who brought her a manila envelope. This was delivered to my sister's apartment the day before my arrest. Insurance, Maddox called it. Inside were photographs, surveillance images of Reed's father, the twins at school, and most damning, images of Maddox meeting with Crane months before the current crisis erupted. Why didn't you share this when you were arrested? Reed demanded. Because I was still protecting Maddox then, Aurora admitted. He promised he could get the charges against me reduced if I kept quiet about his involvement. Reed studied the evidence, his mind already formulating a response strategy. If Maddox was truly compromised, he was currently embedded in the heart of Reed's security operation with access to the twins. There's something else you should know, Aurora added, her voice softer now. Lily wasn't just manipulated by me and Brock. Maddox has been working on her too. All those father-daughter outings he volunteered to chaperone? He was reinforcing her doubts about you. Reed thought back to the subtle changes in Lily's behavior, how her distrust had deepened specifically after certain outings with Maddox. The pieces aligned with disturbing clarity. Why would he target Lily specifically? Reed asked. Because she's like you, Aurora replied. Observant. Analytical. Liam trusts his instincts, but Lily needs evidence. Maddox was providing carefully crafted evidence of your supposed paranoia. Reed checked his watch. If what you're saying is true, I need to move quickly. He'll be expecting something, Aurora warned. After Crane's arrest, he'll know his cover might be compromised. Reed stood. I'll handle Maddox. Reed, Aurora called as he turned to leave. Whatever happens, tell the twins I'm sorry. Not for getting caught. For betraying them. Reed paused at the door. Actions have consequences, Aurora. Some betrayals can't be forgiven. I know, she whispered. That's why I'm telling you about Maddox. Not for forgiveness. For them. Reed returned to his car, immediately contacting Agent Drake on a secure line. I need verification on a bank account, he explained, providing the routing number Aurora had given him. While waiting for Drake's response, Reed activated the tracking system on his phone, confirming the twins' locations. Lily was at home. Liam was at his lacrosse practice. Then Reed checked Maddox's tracker, showing him at Reed's house, supposedly supervising the security detail protecting Lily. Drake called back within 15 minutes. The account is active. Regular deposits from a company we've confirmed is an Onyx front. I need a full tactical team at my residence, Reed instructed. Silent approach. Maddox is to be considered armed and extremely dangerous. What about your daughter? Drake asked. I'm handling that personally, Reed replied, already activating the emergency protocol that would send a coded alert to Lily's phone, a signal for her to move to the secure panic room without alerting security. As Reed approached his property, he disabled the regular security alerts that would notify Maddox of his arrival. Using a maintenance entrance, he entered the grounds undetected, making his way toward the main house. Through his specialized glasses, he could monitor Lily's tracker showing she had received his alert and was moving toward the panic room on the east side of the house. Maddox's signal indicated he was in the security control room, the West Wing. Reed moved silently through his home, every sense heightened. As he approached the panic room, he heard footsteps behind him and turned to find Maddox, weapon drawn. You're back early, Maddox observed, his tone casual though his stance was combat-ready. Change of plans, Reed replied, equally casual. Aurora had less to say than expected. Maddox's eyes narrowed slightly. Anything useful? Banking details, Reed said, watching Maddox's reaction carefully. Offshore accounts. Onyx shell corporations. A nearly imperceptible tightening around Maddox's eyes confirmed Aurora's accusations. Interesting, Maddox commented. But Onyx's finances aren't our primary concern. Keeping the twins safe is. Absolutely, Reed agreed. Where's Lily? In her room, last I checked. Maddox gestured vaguely toward the West Wing, the opposite direction from where Reed's tracker showed Lily had gone. The lie confirmed Reed's suspicions. Let's check on her together. As they walked, Reed maintained a careful distance from Maddox, his hand near his concealed weapon. 20 years working together, Reed remarked. That's a long time to maintain a cover. Maddox stopped walking. What exactly did Aurora tell you? Everything, Reed replied simply. How you recruited Brock. How you helped target Lily specifically. The offshore accounts receiving Onyx payments. Maddox's friendly demeanor vanished. She always was a liability. Too emotional. Too attached to the twins. Unlike you, Reed observed. It was never personal, Maddox insisted. Just business. Your security firm has access to high-value intelligence. Onyx pays premium for that access. And the twins? Was targeting them just business too? Something cold flashed in Maddox's eyes. Leverage is leverage, Reed. You taught me that. Where's my daughter, Maddox? Probably hiding in the panic room by now, Maddox replied with a shrug. You really think I didn't know about your emergency protocols? I helped design them. Reed's expression hardened. FBI tactical teams are already on the property. And my contingency plans are already in motion, Maddox countered. Did Aurora mention that part? How I have evidence implicating you in operations that would violate every security clearance you hold. Manufactured evidence, Reed dismissed. But compelling, Maddox smiled thinly. Enough to create reasonable doubt about who was really selling secrets. You or Aurora. Before Reed could respond, the lights throughout the house flickered, the signal that FBI teams had disabled the main power grid. In the momentary darkness, Maddox moved with practiced efficiency, firing a suppressed shot that grazed Reed's shoulder before Reed could take cover behind a marble column. You're slipping, old friend, Maddox called out. Too distracted by family concerns. That was always your weakness. Reed remained silent, using the darkness to his advantage as he circled behind Maddox's position. Years of working together had made them intimately familiar with each other's tactics, a double-edged sword in this confrontation. The twins will be better off without either of you, Maddox continued, trying to draw Reed out. Aurora in prison, you eliminated as a security risk. I've already arranged for their care. Generous trust funds. Good schools. Reed's voice came from the shadows. You assumed they'd go with you willingly after learning the truth. Truth is subjective, Maddox replied. Lily already doubts you. Liam's loyalty can be redirected. You underestimate my children. And you overestimate your ability to protect them. Maddox snapped, his composure finally cracking. I have teams in position at Liam's school. One word from me, and... He never finished the sentence. Reed emerged from the darkness behind him, striking with lethal precision. The struggle was brief but vicious. Two men with identical training, each knowing the other's weaknesses and strengths. Maddox fought with the desperation of a man who knew failure meant imprisonment or death. Reed fought with the cold determination of a father protecting his family. When FBI agents finally breached the room, they found Reed standing over Maddox's subdued form, blood dripping from a knife wound in his side. Secure him, Reed ordered, pressing a hand to his injury. And check on my daughter in the panic room. As agents led Maddox away, the betrayer called back. This changes nothing, Reed. The evidence I've planted will still destroy you. Reed watched him go, unmoved. Agent Drake, he addressed the FBI team leader. There's a safe in Maddox's apartment, behind the bathroom mirror. The combination is his military ID number. You'll find everything you need there. Drake looked surprised. You knew? Before today. I suspected, Reed admitted. For months. Small inconsistencies. Security breaches that shouldn't have happened. I've been feeding him controlled information, waiting to confirm my suspicions. And Aurora's revelation? Convenient timing, Reed acknowledged. But it merely confirmed what I already suspected. Later, with his wound treated and Lily safely recovered from the panic room, Reed gathered both twins in the kitchen. Liam had been brought home under FBI escort once Maddox's threats against him were confirmed. I owe you both the truth, Reed began soberly. All of it. He explained about Maddox's betrayal, his long-standing connection to Onyx, and his manipulation of their family. So Mom wasn't lying? About that part at least? Lily asked softly. No, Reed confirmed, though her motives for revealing it were likely self-serving. And now? Liam questioned. Is it over? Reed considered this carefully. The immediate threats have been neutralized. Crane is in custody. Maddox has been apprehended. But Onyx is an organization, not an individual. They may regroup, try again. So we're still in danger, Lily concluded. You're safer than you were yesterday, Reed assured them. And tomorrow we'll implement additional security measures. More surveillance. Lily noted with a hint of her old skepticism. Reed met her gaze directly. Yes, because now you understand why it's necessary. Lily nodded slowly, a new understanding in her eyes. I do. That night, as the twins slept under enhanced security, Reed reviewed the evidence collected from Maddox's apartment. As he had suspected, his former friend had been documenting Reed's operations for years, carefully building a file that could be used to frame Reed if Maddox's cover was ever blown. Among the documents was a detailed psychological assessment of Lily, notes on her vulnerabilities, her triggers, her relationship with Reed. Maddox had been methodically poisoning her against her father, exploiting natural teenage rebellion and amplifying it with carefully planted doubts. Reed's jaw tightened as he read the clinical way Maddox had plotted to turn his daughter into a weapon against him. Some betrayals cut deeper than others. This one would not be forgiven or forgotten. His phone buzzed with a message from Travis. Aurora's cooperation has been formally recognized by prosecutors. Sentence reduction likely. She's requesting permission to write to the twins. Reed stared at the message for a long moment before responding. Denied. She forfeited that right when she used them as pawns. Some might call it harsh. Reed called it protection. His family would heal, but on his terms, without the influence of those who had betrayed them. Chapter 9, Unbroken. 1 month after Maddox's arrest, Reed stood on the deck of their new mountain home in Colorado. The sprawling property offered both security and isolation. 10 acres of forested land surrounded by state-of-the-art security systems that Reed had personally designed and installed. The twins had adapted to their new environment with varying degrees of success. Liam had thrown himself into mountain biking and rock climbing, embracing the physical challenges of their new home. Lily had been quieter, spending hours in the glass-walled studio Reed had built for her, photographing the dramatic landscape that surrounded them. Neither had asked to contact their mother, though Reed knew Aurora continued to send letters that he intercepted. Someday, when they were older, he would give them the choice of reading her correspondence. But not yet. Not while the wounds remained raw. The trials had concluded swiftly. Aurora had received a reduced sentence of 15 years in exchange for her cooperation against Onyx. Brock Harlow had received 20 years. Victor Crane faced life imprisonment without parole. Maddox's trial was still ongoing, complicated by his attempts to implicate Reed in various security breaches. But the evidence Reed had accumulated during his months of suspicion had proven decisive, dismantling Maddox's carefully constructed frame job. Dad, Reed turned to find Lily standing in the doorway, camera in hand. May I join you? She asked. Reed nodded, moving aside to make room at the railing. They stood in companionable silence for several minutes, watching an eagle circle above the valley below. I've been thinking about what happened, Lily finally said. With Mom. With Maddox. With me. What conclusions have you reached? Reed asked. That I was looking for evidence of who you were in all the wrong places, she replied thoughtfully. Maddox and Mom told me to look at the security systems, the surveillance, the precautions as evidence that you were controlling. Paranoid. Reed remained silent, allowing her to continue. But they were actually evidence of the opposite, Lily concluded. You were protecting us the only way you knew how, based on what you'd seen in your work. Reed nodded slowly. Protection and control can look similar from the outside. I understand that now, Lily said. I also understand why you won't let us read Mom's letters. Reed turned to look at her directly. You know about those? Liam saw you locking them away in your office safe, she admitted. He told me. And how do you feel about that decision? Lily considered this carefully. A month ago, I would have been angry, accused you of controlling us. Now, she sighed. I'm not ready to hear what she has to say. Not yet. Reed placed a hand on her shoulder. When you are ready, if that day comes, the letters will be there. Will you ever forgive her? Lily asked suddenly. Reed's expression hardened. No. Because she betrayed you? Because she betrayed you and Liam, Reed corrected. My job, my purpose, has always been to protect people. I failed to protect you both from her manipulation. You couldn't have known, Lily argued. I suspected, Reed admitted. But I wanted to believe I was wrong. That's a mistake I won't make again. Lily studied him carefully. You don't give second chances, do you? Not to those who betray trust at the most fundamental level, Reed confirmed. Your mother didn't just have an affair. She didn't just lie. She deliberately used you and your brother as weapons. Exposed you to danger. Those actions have permanent consequences. Lily nodded, understanding even if she didn't fully share his absolutist position. And me? Have I earned back your trust after testifying against you? Reed turned to face her fully. You were never the betrayer, Lily. You were a victim of manipulation by experts who exploited your natural vulnerabilities. There's nothing to forgive. Tears welled in Lily's eyes, the first Reed had seen since the day of Maddox's arrest. I should have known better. Should have seen through it. You're 17, Reed reminded her gently. They were trained operatives with decades of experience manipulating people. The fault was never yours. As they stood together watching the sunset paint the mountains in crimson and gold, Reed's secure phone buzzed. The screen displayed a message from Agent Drake. Onyx Network officially dismantled. Final operative in custody. Threat level reduced to minimal. Details to follow. Reed read the message with satisfaction. The organization that had targeted his family had been systematically destroyed, its leadership imprisoned, its financial assets frozen, its operations exposed. Good news? Lily asked, noticing his expression. Very good news, Reed confirmed, showing her the message. Lily smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes for the first time in months. Does this mean we can ease up on the security protocols? Maybe have friends visit occasionally. Reed considered this. Some adjustments might be reasonable. Within limits. Progress, Lily teased, bumping her shoulder against his arm. Later that evening, as Reed completed his nightly security check, he found Liam in the kitchen, making a late-night sandwich. Hungry? Reed asked. Always, Liam grinned. Saw you and Lily talking on the deck earlier. Looked intense. Healing happens in stages, Reed observed. She's working through things in her own way. Liam nodded thoughtfully. She's tougher than she looks. Like you. Like both of us, Reed corrected. Agent Drake's message. Does that mean we can start living more normally now? Define normally, Reed challenged with a raised eyebrow. Liam laughed. Fair point. Normal for us was never exactly typical. As they talked, Reed realized how much his son had matured through the crucible of the past months. At 17, Liam now carried himself with the confident awareness of someone who had faced betrayal and emerged stronger. I've been thinking about college, Liam ventured. Security systems, engineering. Following in your footsteps, sort of. Reed felt an unexpected surge of pride. You'd be excellent at it. Because I learned from the best, Liam replied simply. After Liam headed upstairs, Reed performed his final security sweep before retiring to his office. There, he unlocked a hidden safe concealed behind a bookshelf, a different safe from the one containing Aurora's letters. Inside was a single file containing documents that not even Agent Drake knew existed, evidence Reed had gathered personally about the highest levels of Onyx's operation. The organization hadn't merely been dismantled, it had been systematically destroyed from within, its operatives turned against each other through careful manipulation of intelligence. Reed had orchestrated its destruction meticulously, working through back channels and untraceable connections established during his military intelligence days. The FBI believed they had led the operation. In reality, they had followed a path Reed had carefully laid out for them. Aurora, Brock, Maddox, Crane, they had all underestimated his capacity for vengeance when his family was threatened. They had mistaken his controlled demeanor for weakness, his calculated patience for hesitation. Reed closed the safe, satisfied. The threats had been eliminated. His children were safe. The betrayers had paid for their choices. Some men forgave. Some men forgot. Reed Blackburn didn't either. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.